All right, so let's get into things that we got going on this week. And actually, it is a very patriotic week.
It
As
is.
it is what this Thursday, when this episode drops, is the 4th of July. Happy birthday, America.
Our episode drops on Tuesday.
Our episode does drop on Tuesday, but Thursday is the 4th of
Yeah.
July.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yes. And we figured we'd talk about some games that brought some patriotism to our Japanese video game systems.
You know what I called this on my one sheet?
Well, what'd you call it?
Games that define America, as opposed to patriotic games,
Oh man.
because my list I did my list and I'm like, "Hmm, I think this is a better type."
I I might we might be, we might be having some discussions here, folks. I don't know if it's gonna make it into the
We're,
podcast,
we're gonna
but
have we're gonna have two different conversations right
oh,
now.
I'm not gonna be happy about this. All right. So but
No, you will. It's
no, I don't.
I didn't you know what it was when I was looking up like traditional like patriotic games.
Yeah.
Like I kept getting the Call of Duties
Oh,
and
you're
things
right.
like that.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's why I was like, okay, I wanted to kind of
No,
spread
you're
it out a
right.
little bit more. That's
No,
why.
no, you're 100%. No, all joking aside, you're 100% right. And
Yeah.
I tried not to be on the nose. I got one or two titles though, just had no choice. It is, what it is. And let's get right into it. I'm going to start off with a series that I've definitely talked about before on the show. A series that actually is more my father's series. And then I was telling Ant before we recorded, really should have had him on the show. He would have been on for 5 seconds and then had enough of us and leave.
Nerds.
Yeah, basically. And games that so Desert Strike, War in the Gulf, or Return to the Gulf, actually.
Yep.
It came out for the Genesis, it came out for many systems. We had it on the Super Nintendo. And this is one of the games that my father just absolutely loved. Now, a little bit of backstory and to bring into to my family, my world, my father, very proud military, did his year and a day in Vietnam. And he was called up for Desert Storm, actually. And what happened? That was in 91. So I was 11. My dad was in the reserves. So this game, there weren't that many Vietnam games that came out then. And I
No.
think I can say this, and I don't think I'm overstepping my boundaries by saying this, but my father definitely would not have tolerated Vietnam games back then. I mean, he's very proud Vietnam
Mhm.
veteran, but he would not have tolerated those type of games. It is what it is. Like you do a year and a day in the jungle, it's going to do something to you.
Yeah.
And that's why when he played Dr. Mario, I think that was him dealing with the PTSD, as I've mentioned before, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. So when Desert Strike came out, and it came out, so this came out after he was already called up. I mean, he was gone for a week, and I remember this. And they were like, the reason why he came home afterwards because he was in the reserves. They were like, it was him and a bunch of other guys, and like, oh, you guys did your time in Vietnam. This war's going to be over in a few months. You guys can head home. Don't worry about it. And it was true. We were done in like a few months thereafter, and he came home out of nowhere.
Nice.
So it was weird. Even when I think about back on it now, I think it's weird, but again, therapeutic probably that he enjoyed this game and he got skilled at Desert Strike.
Nice.
So it was very cool. And again, one of the first games to really, in my eyes, really portray a modern war because we watched it live
Yep.
on television. And yeah, so Desert Strike it just to me is always just like Americana game because here we are in this war, in this battle, and doing what we do best, destroy things and winning wars. So that's why I love this game. My father loved this game as well. And I'm trying to buy the entire collection. I think I'm like one or two games away from having all the strikes.
Okay.
So
Plus, there's that new one that we talked about.
yes, yeah, something hot. Oh, I can't remember it now.
Yeah, I
I
forgot
told
the
my
name of it
I
already.
told my dad about it.
Oh,
He was
you
like, "Can I
did?
play? Can I play it?" I'm like, "You can, but we got to install it on the computer." And we've never had a
No
successful
more.
run of trying to put a game on the computer for him. So
Yeah. You'll have to find another, get him a Steam Deck and then just put it on
that's
there
what
for him. Be
maybe,
like, here you go, Dad.
maybe.
All right. Well, yeah, I figured that was going to be like one of the first ones on your list or the first one on your
Well,
list.
if I may, because it just to lump it together, just one of the game, then and you can discuss yours because this is another game that took place during the Gulf War, Super Battle Tank War in the Gulf.
Okay.
This was another one. Again, came out on Genesis. We had it on Super Nintendo. It's a tank simulator. Another one that my dad just got prolific at, and he didn't do any tanks, and he was in the Air Force. But he just, again, loved this game. I tried finding it. I might have a copy actually. Hold on.
No.
I have
Has your collection gotten so big that you don't realize what you have anymore?
100% yes.
You,
100%. You know what? I gave it to him. I
Hmm.
bought, yeah, I bought the original Battle Tank and I gave it to him.
Oh,
But
okay.
this one specifically during Operation Desert Storm, again, fantastic game, about history that he was a part of. And again, just another one. I just remember him sitting there just playing ad nauseum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So my list doesn't necessarily involve games well, some of them are games I've definitely played.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say I was trying to pull a game out of my brain where I'm like, okay, like
As
this
opposed
is
to another
a
part of your body.
yeah. I'm like, this is like I was trying to think of like this is a game that um is patriotic that I played like hardcore like a ton of.
Okay.
And honestly, nothing really came to mind except for one, which is on my list, which we can laugh at. Um, and so I'll start with that one.
Okay.
And I'm talking about nothing says America to me than a bunch of beefed up guys and gals dressed in tights competing in events with regular people. And I'm
Oh.
talking about American Gladiators for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Genesis.
That was a show unto itself, and the game
Yes.
was crazy.
That was
Yes.
absolutely insane. But again, when I think of like that was like, I don't know why that was one of the first things that popped in my head. I go, okay, what games say America to me? And I'm like, oh, American. And I'm like,
Because it's in
I
the
was like, I was
title?
like, I was like, no, because
No, I know.
they dressed in
You're
the
right.
red, white, and blue. It
Yep.
was like, it was very
It
Americana.
was, yeah.
Um, so much so that they're bringing it back again.
Yeah, let's try.
Um,
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. But
Yeah, it's gonna make another comeback. But I really enjoyed the video game. I did. I have it on Super Nintendo, and I think I may have the NES version as well. So and of course the Super Nintendo version is far superior.
oh
But
yeah. I feel like I rented the NES version a bunch of times.
I might have rented the
Yeah.
NES one, but like that, yeah, but the Super Nintendo one is the one that I'm most familiar with. But I
Hmm.
just loved playing that game. I
Oh.
really did. I really enjoyed it. Probably because like as a kid, it's like, oh, I would love to be on a show like that. You know, I always wanted to be on like some type of competition show. And you know what? Thankfully, I never wound up on a competition show because this body won't can't handle anything.
Bro, you tried to get me to do the Amazing Race, and I'm telling you, I would have died.
Yeah, you know what though? That would have been good television.
That would be
So
ratings. That would be
yes,
ratings. You're right.
absolute ratings. First guy to
Absolutely.
die on The Amazing Race.
But like 30 seconds, like ready, set, go. This guy just collapsed. What is going on here? Can I get the
Exactly.
producer?
Yeah, it's like oh, he found out he had to run.
Yeah. I'm like, no one told me this. What are you talking about? So with American Gladiators, I remember the only game, the only what do you want to call it? Yeah, I guess game in the game, competition, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
The joust. I could never get that done properly. Like I can never get
yeah.
the controllers down on that.
Oh no, Joust they never had a problem with. The one game I couldn't figure out was Swing Shot. Oh, not Swing Shot.
Oh,
It's called Human Cannonball.
yes, yes.
Yeah, never ever ever figured out how to win Human Cannonball. I always lost that one. But every other game I kind of managed to get through. But yeah, American Gladiators is definitely one of those ones like I immediately think of, not just because it has American in the title, but just because it just
No, it does. You're right.
it has that Americana feel to me.
It was that was the kind of show. It had Larry Zonka, who was a football player. He was doing the
Yep.
commentary with what's his name? Oh,
Mike
I can't remember.
Adamle.
Yes, Mike Adamle. How can I forget Mike Adamle? Good Lord.
Yep.
So but yeah, no, great game, great choice. I wonder if I owned it. No, I definitely rented it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So a game I want to mention, and again, I know wasn't trying to go on the nose, but I couldn't go without mentioning that at least just the first game in the series
Hmm.
because I love this series over Call of Duty. And I'm talking about Medal of Honor and the
Right.
first one. So this is really
Mhm.
the only on the nose one that I have. I remember getting this on the PS1. Medal of Honor. It takes place in World War II, which a lot of games probably the most sought after period piece war to
Hmm.
play in World War II because it was so epic,
Yep.
World War II. And maybe again because just going back to family, my grandfather was in World War II. I had a bunch of uncles
Hmm.
in World War II. I had one actually died on Iwo Jima. But
Mm.
but with this game, it was just so good. It was so fun to play. To this day, in my head, every once in a while, like when I have to show like ID or something, because if I
Hmm.
say it out loud, I'll probably be branded for life. But in my head, I'll just always be like, papers? Where are your papers?
Oh.
That's one of the lines in the game because you're kind of like sneaking through being a spy in Nazi Germany or maybe Poland, but
Hmm.
you would be pretending to be a Nazi. And the character comes up to you, papers, where are your papers? And then you
Oh,
shoot him in the head. But so I
nice.
always remember that part. But again, it's to me, it's one of my favorite World War II games of all
Mm.
time. And Call of Duty's got some top-notch World War II games, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Medal of Honor, definitely up there, definitely worth it. And to me, an amazing American game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I definitely never played any of like the Medal of Honors and Call of Duties are completely lost on me. I'm just not into war games like that. I'm just not. I've never
War
been.
games are awesome. Oh, you meant
I
war games and video games. I'm sorry. Okay.
yes, yes, not that type of war games.
Actually, I'll be
Uh
mentioning the other war games a little later.
yes, all right. But the next one that I have on my list also related to World War II and just a
Okay.
really fun series and it goes back I think this series is well over 30 years old or a little over 30 years old. And I became familiar with it on the PC.
Oh.
And it was the good old-fashioned Wolfenstein series. And
Oh my gosh.
here's my copy that I picked up, I think in Alaska
Yeah, of
recent
all places, right?
last year. But this is Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But
Mhm.
nothing says fun like, shooting Nazis. So,
Absolutely. Especially Hitler at the
and
end.
yes, you do. So it was just really fun. Again, for somebody who's not big into the first person style kind of games
Yeah.
and everything like that.
This got
When
you.
I, but when I was younger, you know, and computer games it was all new stuff. So you had
hmm
Wolfenstein, you had Doom, you
hmm
had Duke Nukem, which also
Yeah.
could be considered an American game, like Americana.
Oh, definitely.
But Wolfenstein for me, I loved these games on the PC until I couldn't play them anymore.
It
For a
was.
while I was able to play first person shooters.
And I get it, and a lot of people, it happens to a lot of people. You just get motion sickness actually from it. But
Mhm.
I feel like the older games, especially like Wolfenstein, because that came out in the early '80s, real early '80s. It
Mhm.
came out in what, '81 or something like that, '82,
Was it that late?
'81. Castle Wolfenstein was '81.
Castle Wolfenstein was
Yep.
81, yeah.
Wolfenstein 3D was '92. But in any event,
Hmm.
like nowadays, because the graphics are so good, every slight motion, you're getting something. You're
Yep.
getting some sort of sensation. Where back then it was actually so choppy that it worked in your favor because it wasn't as fluid.
That's probably what it is. They've
Yeah.
gotten so fluid that I can't do it anymore. It just gets sick from it. And all right, so this is a series that's over 40 years old. My mistake. It's well over
No,
40
I
years.
I didn't realize until I looked at it now. I didn't know it was
Yeah,
that old.
I didn't realize that either. And it's
Yeah.
been on like everything.
Oh,
Like
100%.
everything you could think of.
100%.
All the way up to PS4 and Switch.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep.
so yeah, Wolfenstein. But that's just one of those ones like immediate, like again, popped right in my head. It's like when I was thinking about this topic, I'm like, Wolfenstein just goes right on the list.
Totally. And before anyone chops my head off about it, yes, Wolfenstein 3D is really the first game to go into that 3D aspect. The first two games weren't 3D, so I just want
Okay.
to correct myself before someone tries to come after me.
Yes.
Unfun gamer. All right, great game, great title. One that I've this is more for the average Joe, the blue collar
Mhm.
worker out there
Uh-oh.
making a buck at every mile. And I'm talking about an 18 wheeler American pro trucker.
Oh man, that's on my list.
Is it? Oh,
Yes.
awesome. Awesome. I mean, for me, my list isn't any particular order. It's
No, no,
just
no, neither
some
is
of it.
mine, but I had that on there just for a good laugh.
Yeah. Known in Japan as just 18 wheeler, but 18
Yes.
wheeler American pro trucker. I mean, look, we've all driven the highways and byways of this amazing country of ours,
Yes.
and we have all at one point, even maybe as an adult, done the universal, honk your horn, doing
That's right.
the arm gesture, and you get a wah wah.
Yeah. And you flip
So
them off if they don't,
a little bit, yep, even as a child. So 18 wheeler American pro trucker. I had it on the, if I remember correctly, I had it on the GameCube.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not own this, but I had rented it, I guess. I remember playing it. Maybe I played your copy.
Well, maybe because it came out on Dreamcast, PS2, and GameCube. I'm pretty sure I
Hmm.
didn't. Oh, you know what? Now that I think about it, it might have been the Dreamcast version.
Yeah,
I'm
there was an
pretty sure
arcade
now.
version too.
Well, that's how it started. Yeah, it
Yeah, it
started
started
with
as
an
an
arcade.
arcade.
And I can't remember if no, maybe not this one, because I'm thinking of that fire truck game where you had two people playing.
Oh,
Someone had to
yes,
steer the
yes,
back of the
yes.
truck. But
Mhm.
this was an amazing arcade game. I think this one's all right game on. I might be wrong on that. Might have
Okay.
to check that out if I go later today. But yeah, it's
Yes.
just, you're just driving from one coast to the other as the American trucker who keeps this country going every day by just moving stuff around and getting
Yep.
product to where it needs to go and getting gas to where it needs to go. So, got to remember Joe Trucker out there who keeps everything going for us. And this game, a good homage to them.
Yes. And I didn't realize they had a sequel.
They did, yeah. What was it called? It was
The
called,
King of Route 66.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that was an Elvis song.
No,
No,
I don't
okay.
think so.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that one came out in the arcades and PlayStation 2.
Yes.
That I don't think I've ever played actually though, but I've definitely spent a quarter playing 18 wheeler.
Okay.
That I definitely have. So
Very cool.
yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna take that off my list.
Yeah, one less.
I'm gonna mention one. This isn't a game I played, but while doing research, like while actually
Hmm.
doing some legwork on American games, I found this one and I'm like, yeah, I can. This just makes total sense that we would make a game like this in America. The game is called JFK Reloaded.
Okay, I saw this and I'm like, we're not going to talk about this,
Oh, yes, we
but we're
are.
talking about it apparently.
Because I saw it and I said, yeah, of course this isn't a game we would make in America. JFK Reloaded. It came out November 22nd, 2004, on the 41st anniversary of JFK's
I was going to say
assassination.
that date sounded familiar.
Yep, 41st anniversary of the assassination. It's a first-person shooter developed and published by Traffic Games. Obviously, it simulates the 1963 assassination of John F. Kennedy. And as the player, you are Lee Harvey
I was
Oswald.
going to say, don't just say as the player. There is only
No,
one
no.
person you can be in this
Yep.
game.
You are Lee Harvey Oswald. Your task is to recreate the three shots fired at Kennedy. Only in America would we create a game that would simulate the assassination of one of our presidents.
I got news for you. There's
This
a
does.
lot of other games. There's Pandemic Shooter that's
Oh, I
out right
know.
now. Ski Shooter. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, this one's up there with like Postal,
Yeah,
where hey, look,
exactly.
but at the same time, you can say, look, here, freedom of speech, freedom of, this is
Yep.
what our rights are for. Lee Harvey Oswald was a Marine, so there you go. So he served
Yep.
our country. Uh, and depending on who you talk to, he might have served it a few times. But
Yeah.
no, this game, when I saw this game,
I
I never knew it. I never knew it existed until today.
Yep. No, I had no idea it existed either. And then like just reading the little, the blurb
Yeah.
on Wikipedia, the founder of Traffic Games, Kirk Ewing, wanted to do a small scale simulation of a historical event. He chose Kennedy's assassination over the Apollo 11 moon landing because of the high amount of public domain information available on Kennedy's assassination. I'm like, can you imagine being like, what's more American, landing on the moon or killing our president? I'll go with killing our
Yeah,
president.
I hear that's a rough one. I mean, I guess it makes sense as far as more
Yeah.
you can get more stuff in there. And yeah, you're playing the opening scene better be Lee Harvey Oswald walking up the flight of stairs in the book depository. Like
Oh, I don't know.
I just want to play this now just to experience this.
Well, like, okay, there's something in the
Oh,
game. There's something in the game too called a chaos meter that controls how heavily the motorcade drivers are affected by the panic of what's going on.
yeah, I just read how this game scores, and oh
Yes.
wow, I have to play this game. So I'm quoting Wikipedia here, so forgive me.
Yeah.
As Kennedy's motorcade passes by on Dealey Plaza, which I've
Mhm.
driven over by accident, the player has to take 3 shots at the president. Oh, lowercase. That's not how you do that. With their sniper rifle. They gain points based on how closely these shots match the Warren Commission report.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm going, I swear I was going to make a joke saying, how many points do you get for him going back and to
And
the
to the
left?
left. Mhm.
Back and to the left.
Well, you need to do that to get the perfect score.
No, exactly. The first has to look at this. The first has to miss the car.
Yep.
The second hit Kennedy in the neck and John Connolly, the
Yep.
Texas governor, in the chest. And then the third fatally wounds Kennedy in the head.
Yep.
The perfect score is 1,000.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to continue on here because this is wild.
Yes.
While the game does not halt the player from pursuing alternative scenarios, the score is deducted from when the player deviates from the event, such as hitting Jacqueline Kennedy, the first lady.
Yep.
Holy cow. This is I have to. I have to get this game.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
And there's different angles. You got the
yeah.
grassy knoll and you got the Zapruder film.
Yeah, you have yeah, there's just a whole bunch of wild stuff with this. So,
Oh my gosh.
I don't know where you can find it.
Yeah, it's a tough one to find.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, where is it
I'm just
available?
reading stuff at the bottom here.
Oh, where?
Just at the very end here, the reception for the game.
Okay.
Fans of JFK Reloaded asked Traffic Games to also produce a game that simulated the death of Diana, Princess of Wales.
Wow. That is
Yeesh.
that's an easy one. Just go straight. This
Anyway,
this is wild.
I have no idea if you can, where you can purchase this.
Oh, I'm sure you can find it.
I'm sure you can,
and I will find it.
Just absolutely wild, absolutly wild.
But
I had to bring it up.
Yeah, no.
Happy birthday, America! Buy a game to kill a president.
Yeah, no, that is. Oof. I can't even think of the Lincoln sequel. So,
oh boy.
All right. Well, my game is not as what's the word I'm looking for? Terrifying as that is. So I don't even know how to break from that. I'm going back to the N64 on this one. And again, it's another driving game, but it's one of the first games I purchased on the N64 before I even got the system.
Pilot Wings?
Which one?
Pilot Wings?
I'm going to end this podcast right now. I have no problem doing that. Cruising USA.
Oh, yeah. Cruising USA, of course.
Again, in the vein of 18-wheeler American trucker, you're just driving across the country. It's a great racer. The arcade game was just game changer, no pun intended. Because they were trying to rival Daytona USA and stuff like that, or at least come up with an idea like that. And the Nintendo 64 version, one of the best games. I played that game. I mean, like if it was a disc, I probably would have worn it out if it played like that. It was released in 1996 on the N64. The arcade got it in 1994. And even on the Wii Virtual Console, I think I might have re-downloaded it on the Wii Virtual Console before it became available on the Switch. And it's just a straight up racer. It's got all the scenic. That's what, like I mentioned this an 18-wheeler because of the scenery, the scenic views that you get crossing America, starting from New York, going to LA, Midwest, North, South, everywhere in between. So I've always even back then, I'm like, this is a good American game to play. Just seeing that I'm never going to be able to see these highways. So might as well do it virtually.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fun one. I'm not a big racing game fan, but that one I remember playing a lot. Actually, I remember playing it a lot in arcade.
I guess. All right. So not a fan of first person shooter, not a fan of racers, not a fan of war games. Yep. What else do we got to add on this list, my friend? You want fries with that?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Look, there are so many genres. It just so happens that most games that celebrate America, I don't enjoy.
Oh, I can say so much more, but I'll cut this part out. All right. So what game is next on your list?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I got this one is probably the oldest game we'll mention.
Oh, okay.
On the pod about American games, because this one is 52 years old, almost 53 years old, going all the way back to 1971.
Wow.
Going back to 1971, and I am talking about if you look over my left shoulder, you'll see me pointing at something. I'm really bad at pointing behind me.
Oh, yeah, because it's a mirror, right? You got the mirror
Yes,
image,
and
right?
there's a the card game version is sitting up there because I have my little pocket version right here, and I'm
I
talking
gotta
about
get that.
the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, I
The,
didn't even think of this game.
yeah, so the Oregon Trail is a simulated game about
Dysentery.
yes, about dysentery. No, you are leading a party of settlers across the country from Independence, Missouri to Willamette Valley, Oregon. And obviously, along the way, you have to make sure you have enough resources, you have enough food, and you, as Larry said, you want to make sure you don't die of dysentery. And this game was originally created in 1971 by an eighth grade teacher who wanted to teach his students about the 19th century and settlers going across the country and how dangerous it was and everything like that. So he actually brought in two other people with him to help develop the game,
Mm-hmm.
and they created a very simple version on BASIC,
Yep.
running on a microcomputer.
You
And
know,
that was the original launch or the original development of the Oregon Trail. Their version of the game was never published because it was
oh, that explains
specific
it.
to,
Okay.
yeah, it was specific to a microcomputer.
Mm-hmm.
But then in 1975, it got modified for standard computers and then wound up eventually being sold. And then in 1978, it came to the Apple II, which is where it is most well known.
I gotta be honest with you.
It's great.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. The original genesis of this was in 71.
Yeah.
I always just thought it came out in the 80s when we played it in school.
No, no, no.
I
All the way
honestly did
back to
not realize
71.
that.
Yeah, all the way back to 71. So
Interesting.
it'll be 53 years old in December.
Good. Good.
So yeah, the Oregon Trail had to bring that up because again,
No, totally.
it
I don't know why I
captures
forgot
it
about
captures a part of history of, in America where you don't necessarily think about those things anymore, where it was like, oh yeah, it's like, people used to take months to go across the country, and a lot of them would die along the way because you don't know what, you don't know the weather you run into, your food, your food supply runs low, your wagon breaks and you're stuck, so on and so forth. There were so many dangerous things, but that's how our country was founded and developed. And
it. Yeah,
the Oregon Trail captures just a very, very, very small portion of that.
it does.
And, and it kills you a lot when you play it.
I was petrified. At first, I was a 7-year-old. I should not know what dysentery is, but I was petrified of that. And as a child, and my mother's like, "There's no way you're getting dysentery." I'm like, "How do you know?" But this game, you're right. This is very,
Yeah.
very American history,
Yep.
and I can't believe I totally forgot.
Yeah. And I would like to point out that the board game too,
There's a
the card.
board game.
Well, no,
Oh, the card game.
There's
Okay.
a card game, and then they actually have like a board game
Actually,
version of the card.
I don't
which
know
is-
why I would be shocked that there's a board game.
Yeah,
That
an
makes sense.
expansion. There's an expansion of the card game into the board game. But the card game is really, really fun. Like I played it with my friends, and just as difficult, where you die of dysentery. And actually, give me a second. I'm going to grab the card game because
Yeah,
I
do
just
it.
want to show you something off of it.
Yep.
What's really cool is it's you play up to 6 players, right?
Mhm.
And then you have a bunch of cards, and the cards have like food supply and stuff like that. And you put the names. It has like one of those dry erase
Oh,
things.
okay.
So you put the names of the people that are playing when you play the game,
Okay.
and then as you're traveling and people die, you put their names
Oh
on
my-
their tube. You put their names on the tombstones, and then you put what they died from
Oh my gosh.
on the back.
That is morbid.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
That
it's
is
such
very funny.
it's such a great game. It really is. And if you want your own copy of the game or different versions of the game, you can go to OregonTrail.com, which is what's in
There
the
you go. We will put a
card
link
game.
in the description.
Yeah. So I do want to pick up the larger version of the game. My friend has it where it actually has the board,
Oh wow.
which I want. But
Does it have a little
it's just really cool.
buggy, whatever you want to call that?
No, it does not. It
Oh,
does
okay.
not have that. But it does have that lovely card of, if you can see right there.
There
that's
it
the
is.
one, you died of dysentery.
Good old
And that's the
dysentery.
funny thing. It's like when you're drawing cards, because that's what you do in the game. You're drawing
Mhm.
cards. The minute you pull that card, it just says you've died of dysentery. You can't do anything about it.
No,
You're
you're done.
dead. You're out of the game. Oh,
You're
I'm
done.
blurry.
Yeah, you got. There we go.
Ah,
All right.
so So yes, great game.
I I don't know how far I've ever gone in the Oregon Trail. I honestly
Uh,
don't remember. I never beat it. I also haven't
I
played it in
well,
40
I have
years.
beaten it. I have beaten it,
You have?
but
Okay. I
oh
never
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, but I've also died a lot. So
Oh yeah. Well, we had nothing to do during that hour in computer.
yeah, basically.
And I probably haven't played. I gotta go. I gotta find a. They've. I know they re-released it for comment for modern consoles,
Yeah,
an updated version of it. But I wonder now. I wonder if the original is included in that.
yeah.
I'm gonna look into that when we're done.
Actually, what I would love to do, as you can see over here, my Commodore 64.
Oh well, there you go.
I would love to go through and see where, like, if I have a floppy disk of it. I'm pretty sure I do.
Hmm.
Like a nice old school Commodore 64.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, Oregon Trail.
We got to set that up one day.
Yes.
So the next game I want to talk about again, a little bit on the nose, but not as much because I've never really played a lot of these games. But when we were joking about war games, you mentioned war games where you're not, you weren't a fan of the genre of war games. And then I
Hmm.
jokingly mentioned war games, meaning the wrestling match.
Right.
But the other war games is the movie war games. So I'm not going to talk about the movie war games, but the game I want to talk about is the series called America's Army.
Okay.
And it's our United States Army who did put budget aside to make video games for consoles called
Oh,
America's Army. Came out on Windows, Xbox 360, PS4, a ton of games from 2002 to 2022. I
wow.
think the last version was 2022. It's first person shooter. Many games came out, but what I love about it is they did put out an arcade machine. And I am pretty sure they kept track of high scores.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure you got somebody knocking at your door if you were like in the top 10.
Absolutely. They had promotions outside of expos. Like it was in some points, it was basically a recruiting. It was set up by the United States Department of Defense.
Hmm.
So of any military genre game, Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, any of these, the most realistic one is going to be the America's Army series.
Nice.
So definitely games to check out. And that, I mean, you really can't get much more American than having our own military putting out video games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
So
cool.
very cool.
Yep. The last one I'm going to mention,
Hmm.
which this is on the nose America. You can't, I don't know how much more America you can get than this.
Okay.
It's a game series called The Political Machine. I don't know
I
if you've
might have
ever
come
heard of
across this
this.
as well.
Yeah, it's a government simulation game
Hmm.
where you, as the player, lead a campaign to elect the next president of the United States.
Okay.
And the
Very
sim
topical.
Right, it's very obviously very topical. We're in an election year.
We are.
But you basically do what president-elects are do, people running for president are doing.
Hmm.
You travel from state to state, you try and raise money, you're trying to raise your poll numbers, things happen to that change things around. You have fundraisers,
Kissing babies.
you do media and all that stuff. And then you get to the actual day where they vote. You get to election night, and then they vote for who's going to be president. And the cool thing about the political machine game is that they're still making it. There's a 2024 version of it.
Is it? Oh my God. I can't
Yeah.
imagine what
So
that one's like.
so
Okay.
the first one came out in 2004, and the fun thing about it is like they have cartoonish versions of candidates we all know.
Hmm.
So in other words, like in the original version, it was because it was 2004, you had Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Al Gore, John Kerry,
Oh,
and
okay.
then
Yeah.
like for Republicans, you had George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Barbara Bush, Dick
Hmm.
Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But in the game, he was ineligible to be president because he's not an American. He's
This is
not an
true. He's
American.
still ineligible. Yeah.
But he was in there, and then they had like, and then you get unlockable characters, and you can think about unlockable characters in the terms of the history of our country. But they had Woodrow Wilson, FDR, Thomas Jefferson,
Wow.
Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan. Oh, I would love to play as Richard Nixon.
Wow. Yeah. That'd be a short run.
Right?
Wow.
Um, but yeah, just literally a game that basically recreates the concept of running for president in our country. I'm like nothing. I think if I'm talking about a game on the 4th of July, I'm like, I think this one kind of sums it all up.
Well, the new one's on sale for $16 on Steam.
That's good. I'd love to grab that one and see how that goes.
That one will just blow up.
Right.
Very
I would think like
interesting.
I would like to run like as like a fish
Well,
or like yeah, like
this
I would run
new,
like Mickey Mouse or a dog or something and see what
yeah,
happens.
well, a friend of ours supposedly votes for Mickey Mouse in every election because you can do a write-in vote.
Nice.
Yeah. There is DLC, and I think the DLC gives you like an astronaut's outfit or a Napoleon hat
Nice.
or an alien face. Nope, nope, there's Shrek. Here's a picture of Shrek running for
Oh,
president.
you can be
Yep,
Shrek?
yep.
Nice.
That
I'd vote
is
I would vote for Shrek.
that is wild. Okay. Well, oh yeah, because you can absolutely from head to toe
You can create the
create the
character.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, now you can. But back then,
Oh
like in
no,
the
back
original
yeah, yeah, in
ones,
the original one, no.
back then they were just yeah, they it was all very all cartoonish
Yeah,
looking.
of
Like
course.
they have images
But
up
it's
if you
still
look
a
it up online.
cartoonish,
Yeah,
but
they are
yeah,
cartoonish, but now you have character creators and stuff like that.
exactly.
Like back then, I think you just had to pick who was in it.
Probably, yeah.
So, but
All right.
fun, just a fun,
No, it
weird,
seems
random.
wild.
Yeah.
All right. And then for me, the last game mentioned is a game that I've owned for a while on the PS1. And again, kind of like American Gladiators, just says American in the title.
Hmm.
I'm talking about Patriotic Pinball for the PS1.
Patriotic pinball.
Patriotic Pinball. It was these for a while there was these budget titles that were coming out on the PS1. It was $10 brand new.
Hmm.
So you already knew what you're getting. In this, it's a pinball game. So there's nothing else to describe with this game. It's straight
Yeah.
up pinball. There's only two tables available in this game. There's one that's like military style, and
Okay.
then there's one driving across the Great Plains, if you will. This almost like Cruising USA kind of.
Okay.
And there are missions in the game to do and unlock. But I just remember seeing this again. It was $10. Patriotic Pinball. It might have been shortly before or after I bought Austin Powers Pinball, which is the
Okay.
exact same concept with just two different boards themed based
Yep.
on the movie. But this one just it's the layout of the boards I enjoy. I mean the road trip one not as much. It's just an RV that sits in the middle of the board. But I
Hmm.
really like it's almost like very USO looking for the military version. The
That's cool.
military board. Yeah, very it gives you those vibes of like again World War II USO
Hmm.
or the Bob Hope specials.
Oh yeah.
All those. Um
Yeah.
so this just I've every once in a blue moon because I still have this game. Literally, however many times a blue moon appears, I'll pop it in and just play for a little while. I'm like, yep, they made this game for $10.
Yes. That's an awesome one. My
Yeah.
cat lost all his color.
Oh, what? I didn't even see. Oh, wow. Scared
She's
white.
already, yeah, she's already gone. Get back here. Come say hello.
Oh boy. So for this patriotic week, for this wonderful birthday of this wonderful country of
Yes.
ours, those are some of the games that we listed and one very interesting one that I have to go find. That kind of sums up just brings you well most of them pride and joy of living in this great country of ours, which isn't perfect, but by gosh, it's ours.